Hi there, it's Jaya.
And Ian.
And we are doing our 52-week sex life makeover challenge here on YouTube. We've been talking about the 7 barriers to hot passion and pleasure. And today, if you haven't guessed, we are talking about chemistry.
That's why we look so funny.
So before we go into that, one of the big things that I think we need to talk about is an epidemic that's happening in America today, and actually around the world. And that's that we aren't having enough sex, and we don't have enough satisfaction in sex. One study, a global study, said that the US is 24th out of 26 countries as far as sexual frequency. Now, if you're in Greece, you guys are doing good. You're having lots of sex, but your satisfaction's mediocre. Japan, you're the worst. You guys are 26th on here. We're tied with Nigeria. So around the world, we just aren't having a good quantity and quality of sex. And 1 in 3 long-term relationships in America is sexless. Ugh. And about 40% of women are dissatisfied with their sex life. 63% are not getting their sexual needs met, of both men and women. So what's going on? So we've been talking about these barriers. That's part of what's going on, is these 7 barriers. And that's why we're doing this series, because we really want to change and shift things. So let's talk about chemistry. What is chemistry? Well, chemistry is your personal chemistry, meaning your hormones, your neurotransmitter dominance, your blood, how healthy your blood is, are you getting microcirculation? I'm using a lot of geeky words today. We're sex geeks today. Don't get tripped up on the words. Just know that it's your overall health is affecting your sexual health. We also have sexual chemistry, and that's the attraction that you have between each other. That's the level of libido and arousal that you feel towards your partner. And so there's that sexual chemistry. It's the pheromones, the scent that you have, and I could go into all the science behind that. I will spare you from that. And today, let's focus on some solutions. So if the chemistry is off, this is what you're facing. Low libido, passion has waned, you're tired, you're exhausted at the end of the day, your moods are all funky and swingy and all over the place, your energy is all over the place, and you're just not operating at your optimal level of health. So what do we do?
Get your hormones tested.
If you can't measure it, you can't change it. And I love that quote from Dr. Daniel Amen, which is, you can measure something and change it. He's a brilliant brain scientist, and I firmly believe that your brain, your B spot, is your greatest sexual organ. So we have to get our B spot healthier. So we have to measure it. We have to measure your hormones. And not only on the hormonal test, your doctor may say, okay, you guys are in the normal range. Well, I don't want to be normal. I want to be optimal. I want to be super healthy. And our sex hormones are our youth hormones. So what do? We need to get enough sleep. Testosterone is produced. Your sex hormones are produced while you sleep. There's something to be said about beauty sleep. You need to also check your cortisol levels, because the stress hormones can whack all kinds of things out. We're going to talk about stress a little bit later.
And this is a personal story for me, because Jaya's libido is through the roof, as you might imagine, and mine has been oscillating. And part of the drivers of a low libido for me are all these things that Jaya is actually talking about. I was not getting enough sleep. My stress levels from work and from my lifestyle were just really driving my libido down, and it was really becoming an impediment. And once I started to get some sleep, work on these hormonal levels, and some other things we'll talk about in a second, then I really started to get that engagement back in our relationship.
So when it comes to sexual chemistry, attraction between your partner, there's something you can do called the passion trifecta, which we're going to talk about on another video later in the series, and adventure dating. There's also change in smell, and part of that has to do, also ties in with your personal chemistry. But getting rid of emotional resentment and communicating better can actually help your chemistry between you. So we're going to talk about communication in our very next video next week, so be sure to tune in for that. Anything else about chemistry you want to share?
Well, it's the habits of connection. You know, sometimes it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're not connecting, your hormones are not going to be matching and building up. And if you create a habit of connection, even if you're not feeling it, but you create time to connect and drop in with each other and play with sensuality, play with sexuality, you're going to boost that hormonal level just by engaging that way. So it's the habits that support and cultivate this sensual, passionate life.
So get it tested and measure it so you can change it. Create some new habits, because all of these things affect chemistry. You know, even the excuses we talked about in video number 1. So be sure to look at this as a whole, not just as little parts.
Bits and pieces.
All of these barriers come together as a whole. All right, if you like us, give us a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. And we want to know, what are you dealing with chemically? What are you dealing with? What's going on? Have you lost attraction? Did you just have a baby? That changes your chemistry. Menopause, that changes your chemistry. What's going on with your libido? What's going on with your energy and your moods? Let us know. Let's create a community and a conversation around this.
And if you want to go deeper with the education, join us at MissJaiya.com. Check us out there. There's all sorts of opportunities to go into some deep learning around all this stuff.
Until next time, fill your life
with pleasure.